Unshift. Write a function called myUnshift. Not your unshift, but mine. And this will take an array and a value of any type as arguments. Okay, so it's going to take how many things? Two things. An array and a value. Okay, and myUnshift should return a new array with the given value as the first element in the new array. So, okay, so what does that mean? We're giving it this array and an element. So how many arguments in here? 4. That's 2, right? 1, 2. This is just a really big thing that has a bunch of stuff in it, but it's really one thing, right? One thing and 2 things. Okay, and then this should return a new array, right? With this kind of shifted in, okay, or unshifted in. And the reason this is very different from the original shift problem, does anyone know why this is different from shift normally? It's subtle. So the original dot shift method mutates the original array. It mutates it. So what does that mean? That means if I have this as an array and I do this thing dot shift and then 0, right? I'm gonna literally take 0 and put it in there, in the original array. And so now that array is gonna become bigger, right? With this original array actually doesn't change at all. Right? What does it say? My unshift should return a new array. A new array with the given value as the first element. So what does that mean? We're gonna take this array, and we're gonna take this element, and we're gonna create a brand new array that takes 0 and then takes 1, 2, 3 and puts it in the new array. But the original thing that has 1, 2, 3 in it, that doesn't change. That stays unmutated. Okay? Does that make sense? Okay. Cool. Oops. Let's go here. Okay. So if I do const, or just show you real quick, if I say like, if I have const array equals 1, 2, 3, and I do array.unshift 0, and I console log the array, right? I shifted it, I put 0 into the original array. This is not what we want, right? This is not what we want. What we want to do is we want to clone. We want to take this original Mary Kate, make a clone, and then add stuff to Ashley. But Mary Kate shouldn't change. Okay? So let's do this. Const, or I'll do function, right? Function my unshift. Takes how many arguments? 2. Array and value. Exactly. I'm going to put the value in array, right? And the answer is not array.shift or unshift, right? So we want to return a new array, okay? Whenever you hear that we want to return a new whatever, right? Always create an empty version of that thing. Okay, whenever a question asks to return like a new string, just start with an empty string, and then build that up. We want a new array back. Start with this empty shell of an array, and then put stuff in it. Okay. So we'll say const new array is this empty array, and we're gonna add stuff into here. Okay. And then eventually, what do we want to return? New array. Exactly. Right? We're preparing this meal. And eventually, once it's all prepared, we want to return it. Right? Okay. So now what we want to do is we want to put what do we want to put first in here? Val. So you can do this 2 ways. You can do new array dot push val like this, or you can just like go like this. Like just create this array starting with val already inside of it. Does that make sense? I don't really have a preference. Do you have a preference? Just put it in. Great. So now that 0 is in there, right? What else do we want to put in? 1, 2, 3, right? So you might think to do something like this: array, or sorry, new array, which is this thing, right? It has 0 in it. Dot push in the original array, which is 1, 2, 3. So now we're gonna have 0, 1, 2, 3, right? You might think this, but there's a problem. It's like it looks kind of close, but also kind of not, right? So what just happened here? We basically, okay, imagine this as like an Amazon package, right? You have this box full of stuff that you ordered, okay? And what you want to do is you want to put everything in a new box plus one more thing, okay? But you want to make sure to empty out the contents of the original box, right? So everything's flat. When we do this, we're taking this Amazon box and we're putting the whole thing into a new box, including the box itself. So now we have this nested box, right? When really we want to dump out the things from the original box. Does that make sense? A lot of people shaking their head. Okay, so instead of just taking this box and putting it into this bigger box, let's take each element out. Okay, and there's actually like a million ways to do this, but let's do it with the way we know, for loop. Right, we want to start at the beginning of the array. Right, we want to start with 1, and then put in 2 and then 3. Right, so that's why we're going to start at 0. And then I'm going to grab each element. Okay, and then I want to take this and I want to put it into new array. So new array dot push out. So iterate through the original array and put each element into the new array. Okay? Does this make sense? Okay. This is method number 1. Let's do a few. Any questions on this?
Why are you using it? I understand why you're using an L.
Yeah.
But like, is that shorthand for something? Kind of like...
Good question. So you could certainly do something like this. Is that what you're saying? Like push in each element. Yeah. You're right. Here, like this doing this doesn't really shine. But I think we'll see it in the next lecture where like this might be helpful. But here, like we define L once and we use it just once, right? So it's like it's a little bit redundant. But I don't know. You could say like num or something, and you can be like, okay, in this new array, push in every number, right? Whereas if you say like, okay, push in every array at I, you're gonna be like, okay, well, what is each thing? You know, it's really stylistic choice. Okay, so instead of doing this, right, what we can do is instead of a for loop, okay, instead of a for loop, we do new array dot push, not the array, right? If we do this, we get this thing. Instead, what do we want to do? We want to take this box, we want to take array, and we want to shake everything out, right? How do you shake things out of anything? 3 dots, like that. This right here will basically like take an array and remove the shell, like remove the brackets. So now it's just gonna be 1, 2, 3. If you put dot 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 in front of an array, right, you're basically taking all the elements out of the array. It's called the array spread notation. Okay, and this is very recent. I think this is the ES7. Really neat. And so this works, right? We don't have to do a for loop. Where it's like push in to here everything in the array, everything in the original array. If you can do this, instantly accept it. Don't take my word though. It'll go a long way. If you do this and then say like the word mutation, you're in a good place. Okay. One more though. right? I feel like I'm teaching you like trade secrets. One more, okay? Well, if this is gonna take everything out of the array for us, right? Why don't I literally just do that in here, right? Now it's 0, and then whatever was in the original array, all taken out. 1, 2, 3. And if I'm gonna do this, I just like define this and I return it. Why don't I just return it? Like this. If you do this, you graduate immediately. You get accepted and you immediately graduate. Does that make sense? This is the exact same thing that's happening here. We just dump everything out of this array into a new bucket, right? And you want to make sure whenever you dump anything out, like you're capturing it somewhere. Like if you just do this, I think it's going to freak out, right? It has to be stored somewhere. Okay. Also fun fact, if you do so with function keyword, right, you have to use this curly braces. The cool thing about arrow functions is if your function, right, if your function is what we call a one-liner, as in the whole thing your function does is just one line, and you use an arrow function, you actually don't need brackets. You don't need brackets. You can just do this, like this. And what's cool is you don't even need return. You can just do that. This will also work. So if you do this, Google, instantly. But look at how many steps it took to get from here, right? Like we could have started with that last thing, but really like the way you should be thinking about it is just like take everything out of the array, right? How do we do that? Okay. Any questions on my Unshift? Yes.
So initially when I was doing this, I hesitated to add value into as the value within the array.
Okay.
I thought, well, you can't just have one element in an array, but that's obviously not the case.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So you can have, as long as it's surrounded by open bracket, close bracket.
Exactly. You can have nothing in an array. Yeah. Imagine it literally as like a cardboard box. You can have nothing in it. You can have one thing in it, and I mean maybe not a billion things. You can have a lot of things in it too. Yeah. But if you start with empty, then you can just do like new array dot push. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Awesome. Oops. Yeah. Sweet. Yes. Oh yeah. Sorry.
You made a copy of it?
Yeah.
Reversed it, pushed in the value, and then reversed it again.
Oh, interesting.
So
That's pretty cool.
Then
So that works, right? Let's look at that, right? So what you're saying is, this is what's cool. It's like there's so many ways to do this. So you're saying you made a copy of the original array by doing array.slice. Remember array.slice copies the original thing? So now array is like everything in the original thing except it's a new thing. It's a new like box that's full of the same stuff. And then what you're saying is you do new array.reverse. So now it's so this is 1, 2, 3, and this is 3, 2, 1, right? And then you push in the value. So now it's 3, 2, 1, 0. And then you do new array dot reverse. And this is finally 0, 1, 2, 3. Yeah. This is cool. This is great. It's not, but what you can do is like to use slice, like I really like the use of slice, right? Is you can slice it like this, and then instead of pushing in, because you don't have to use push, you can do. Oh, you can't do unshift. I'm sorry. No, I thought you could just do unshift, but you can't do unshift. No, you're totally right. This is really cool. This is super neat. So we're gonna get into Actually, I think it'll be in like foundations or immersive, but we're gonna get into these things called like big O notation. It's like how long does each step of the process take, right? How many computations are we doing, right? And so here, right, we're creating a copy of this thing, right? So we necessarily have to go through the original array in entirety, right? That's what slice does. And then reverse has to take this original thing and then reverse it. So the way reverse works is also you have to go through the whole thing, right? And push is very fast. You just take something and you add it right at the end, so it's almost instantaneous. And reverse is another byte, is another pass at the array. So there are a lot of computations that happen here, but it's really creative. I kind of want to ask this as like a brain teaser or something, right? Like using only push to add something to the beginning. Well, that's awesome. So you could also like, you could do this where like you say, well, let's save this. You could say instead of new array.reverse and then return new array, you could just return new array.reverse like this. And then you could say new array is array.slice and then dot reverse. Sliced and then reversed. And then you push something in and then you do this. I don't think you can chain the push though. That'd be really cool. Okay. Awesome stuff.